Magcargo is a dual-type fire rock Pokémon introduced in Generation 2. It evolves from Slugma, starting at level 38, and it's quite a small Pokémon, standing at only 0.8 meters tall and weighing 55 kilograms. So what makes this little snail so interesting? Well, we are told for the first time in Pokémon Sapphire that it has a body temperature of 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's really hot. For the Eastern Americans, that's 10,000 degrees Celsius. In fact, the surface of the Sun only has a temperature of 5,500 degrees Celsius. Yes, the center of the Sun reaches over 15 million degrees Celsius, but that's hot enough for fusion to occur. So now imagine taking a chunk of the Sun away, doubling its temperature, even though you've got to be a little bit careful here, because true temperature is measured in Kelvin, so we'd have to convert, even though it doesn't make a huge difference to these temperatures. But even then, doubling temperature is a bit of a weird concept, because temperature is just a measure of the average kinetic energy of a substance, which is just how fast the particles are moving, and temperature is proportional to velocity squared, so double velocity is actually quadruple temperature. But imagine taking a chunk of the Sun away, doubling its temperature, and then bringing it to Earth. What would happen? Well, firstly, because of the sheer temperature, Magcargo would shine, and it would shine bright. What I mean by shine is that Magcargo would emit radiation. Now, all bodies do this, but it is only noticeable at high temperatures, as the radiation power emitted is given by the Stefan-Boltzmann law, which shows that power scales as temperature to the power of 4. In order to work out how much radiation Magcargo will emit, we need its surface area, which can be a bit hard to estimate given the lack of side-on images. But assuming Magcargo looks like this side-on, and using the known height of 0.8 meters, we estimate a depth of 30 centimeters and find a final surface area of 2.43 meters squared. Combining everything, we get a final emitted power of 1.54 billion watts. If you could convert this to electricity, one Magcargo would be able to provide for 4.2 million average people, which is a country the size of Croatia. Interestingly, this is roughly the same amount of power that Machamp can produce, a topic I covered in another video. To put this into perspective, the Sun shines down roughly 1,100 watts on every meter squared of the Earth's surface. This produces a nice warm feeling on your body during a sunny day, because even though the Sun is very hot and big, meaning it radiates a lot of power away, it is also very far away, so this power is spread over a large area. In order for Magcargo to produce that same warm feeling, it would need to be 330 meters away from you, which is about the length of 3 football pitches. Ignoring heat from the Sun, this would warm you up to a nice balmy 1 degree Celsius, but it's fine that that's quite cold because we're ignoring the effects of the Sun and also of the atmosphere. Moving a football pitch closer, however, you would find yourself at a rather warmer 63 degrees Celsius, which is warmer than the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth. And playing on the same football pitch as Magcargo would guarantee a temperature of at least 200 Celsius, at which point you may as well just start baking. So essentially, Magcargo would carry around this 200-meter death zone around it wherever it went. This is on top of the fact that it would melt, burn, and evaporate everything it came into contact with. Magcargo would have to know how to swim, as rocks melt around 1,200 degrees Celsius. In fact, above 3,000 Celsius, rocks will begin to evaporate, meaning Magcargo would have a hard time staying on any surface at all. In order to have some solid material beneath its feet, Magcargo would sink down into the Earth, where high pressure keeps materials solid. Even at the Earth's core, however, the temperature is only between 5,000 and 6,000 degrees, which is only half the temperature of Magcargo. This means the Magcargo species would likely live just sort of floating around in the molten core of the Earth. After this arises the question of food. Magcargo is radiating 1.54 billion watts away, which means it is losing 1.54 billion joules of energy every second. That energy has to come from somewhere. To keep its body warm, Magcargo would have to consume 368 grams of TNT each second. That's the equivalent of 64 kilograms of coal every second, or over 600,000 Big Macs every second. That is an enormous amount of energy that Magcargo just wouldn't be able to maintain. I mean, there's only about 42,000 McDonald's in the world, which means that each establishment would need to produce 15 Big Macs per second just to feed one Magcargo. That's a lot of Big Macs. Now, interestingly, Magcargo wouldn't be the red colour it's portrayed as being in the Pokémon games. From Wien's law, we see that objects of different temperatures emit light of different colours. For an object at 10,000 degrees, we find that it will mostly emit light with a wavelength of 282 nanometers. This is ultraviolet or UV light. While this would immediately give you skin cancer, humans cannot see ultraviolet light, so Magcargo would shine with the next closest colour, which is violet. This means that shiny Magcargo is actually more accurate to physics than regular Magcargo. So what have we learned? Well, we learned that Magcargo is very hot, about twice as hot as the surface of the Sun or the core of the Earth. We learned that because of the Stefan-Boltzmann law, Magcargo would radiate an enormous amount of power away, and this would require Magcargo to consume ungodly amounts of food. We learned about the death zone that Magcargo would carry around it, and how the fire and destruction it wielded would likely evaporate away any solid ground it had to stand on. Then we learned about Wien's law, and how that meant Magcargo would shine purple. But the most important takeaway of all? Don't get into a Pokemon battle with a Magcargo. And if you are going to go on a picnic with your pet Magcargo, make sure to keep it far away. In fact, for everyone's safety, preferably keep it stored away. Forever. And don't ever let it out. Ever.